What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel, and today we're talking playoffs. The playoffs just started so quickly. The wild card round's already over. I didn't really have a chance to cover it, but do want to go over that real quickly and give some brief thoughts. The Orioles, I thought the Orioles were going to be great this year. They kind of tailed off, had some problems in the second half, and ended up getting swept by the Kansas City Royals. Who would have predicted the Royals to be in the American League Division Series? That's where they're going to be facing the Yankees. The Tigers sweep the Astros. Is this the end of an era for the Astros? We'll have to wait and see. But the Detroit Tigers might be in the beginning of an era. They have so much young talent. They beat the Astros in a 3-game series. They sweep them 2-0. And then you had the Mets just a few hours ago taking care of business against the Brewers. That was the only series that went 3 games. So the Mets win it 2-1. And then the Padres sweep the Braves. After the Braves won 89 games, the Padres won 93 games in the regular season. They sweep the Atlanta Braves and will be moving on, and they'll be taking on the Dodgers. So the matchups in the division series, Yankees, Royals, and you have the Tigers taking on the Guardians. That one is one I want to watch. That one is going to be interesting. Dodgers, Padres, obviously also intriguing. The Mets will be taking on the Phillies in that East Coast matchup right there. So pretty exciting lineup right here for the division series. If we're going to do some quick predictions, starting with the Yankees, Royals, I would assume the Yankees would be heavily favored. We're talking superstar after superstar. Judge and Soto, I mean, that's Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig right there. I mean, that's an insane 1-2 punch in that lineup. And they still got Rizzo. They still got Chisholm Jr. They still got Gleyber Torres. They still got Anthony Volpe. They got Alex Verdugo, Trent Grisham, just a lot of offense. And, of course, a guy named Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt, and some really good arms in that pen. The Royals are a really good team. And, obviously, Bobby Witt Jr., Salvi's still there, Salvador Perez. And they got some good arms like Seth Lugo, but I don't see them taking out the Yankees in a best of 5. It's going to be really tough. This is baseball. It could definitely happen, but I have to take the Yankees. I'll say the Yankees take it in 4 games, and they will be moving on to the ALCS. But that will be one to watch as well, because can the Royals pull off the miracle and take out the Yankees? That's the plan right there. And if there's any sport where something like that, where it could happen, baseball's the one. So it's going to be interesting. The Tigers and Guardians I see as a closer matchup right there. 2 very good up-and-coming teams that have been pretty bad in recent years, and they've both had great seasons. 92 wins for the Guardians, 86 for the Tigers. The Guardians, I think they have a little more speed. They have a little more power. They have multiple 30-plus home run guys like Jose Ramirez and Josh Naylor. But the Tigers, amazing young talent, great pitchers. Colt Keith in that lineup, Riley Green, and of course, some of these young guys that they've drafted recently. Some of them haven't worked out as well as the Tigers had hoped, but they're still producing and starting to get there. And of course, Screwball is going to be, he may pitch in 2 games in this series if need be. So I like the matchups are close. This is a really, really close one. I see the Guardians probably winning at least 2 games in this series, and at least one of those they're probably just going to overpower the Tigers with that lineup. But I think Screwball is going to win his 2 games, and I think the Tigers can find a way to win 1 more, and they take the series in 5 games. I got the Detroit Tigers moving on. National League West, oh my goodness, the Dodgers. Well, stacked as usual. I mean, I got 3 or 4 potential MVP candidates. I mean, maybe not this year, but guys who have won MVPs in the past. Shohei Ohtani right now is probably considered the best player in the game, the 50-50 man. But then you have Freddie Freeman. He's been considered one of the best players, if not the best player in the games in the past. So has Mookie Betts. Okay. And then you got other guys who normally would be one of the best power hitters on their team, whatever that might be, like Teoscar Hernandez. Well, on the Dodgers, he's not even close to the best. That's how stacked they are. So, but they're going up against a Padres lineup that's almost just as stacked. Manny Machado, Tatis Jr., Arias, and of course, Jackson Merrill, like unbelievable, probably going to be the rookie of the year. It's all about the pitching here because I see both lineups very, very elite. The pitching is a little banged up. We just saw the Padres had a problem here. Joe Musgrove came out of the game. I don't know the situation, but it looks like he might not be back for a little while. The Dodgers, of course, with Yamamoto, but their rotation's always banged up, but they always just bring in reinforcements. And I think that they have the edge there, even though everything's pretty comparable, but I think the Dodgers with a slight edge. And I just think they're really determined. They haven't been to the World. They just don't make it enough. They went to the World Series and won it in 2020, and they're just constantly getting eliminated in the first round. They are done with that, I think. I think the Dodgers will actually get back to the NLCS and take out the Padres, but it's going to be in 5 games, and it's going to be tight. And I'm not sure, though. The Padres, if they take out the Dodgers, holy crap. Go check on your Dodgers fans, friends, because it's going to be bad. And last but not least, Mets and Phillies. The Mets just emerged victorious in their series with the Brewers with some amazing heroics, some really exciting baseball there. But now they take on the very powerful Phillies. Now, the Phillies haven't played particularly great in the second half, but I think a lot of that was due to some poor pitching from pitchers that probably aren't going to be pitching a whole lot of innings. The Phillies are going to be relying on Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, Suarez to give them the bulk of the innings, and then they're going to just try to use as few relievers as possible and stick to the ones who have been pitching well. So the Phillies are, they knew they were going to make the playoffs for a while. Like I said, they haven't had the best second half, but they've been able to tread water, stay in first place, and make the playoffs, ending up with 95 wins. And the Mets were a team not guaranteed. They've been trying to get in. They've got in. Both teams have a ton of hitters. Obviously, for the Phillies, Schwarber, Harper, Trey Turner. Again, that's how you win. You got to have these kind of names. But obviously, the Mets with Lindor, Pete Alonso. This, again, very comparable matchup right here. This one's tough to predict. But the Phillies have been a playoff team for several seasons in a row. They made it to the World Series a couple years back. I think it's going to be a very close one as well. I think it's going to be close. I mean, all these division series are great matches. The only one that looks like kind of a David versus Goliath would be the Royals-Yankees. And that's not to say the Royals couldn't win, but the Yankees should be heavily favored. These other series, it's tough. But I'm going to give the edge to the Philadelphia Phillies. I think they have just enough. I think their offense is maybe slightly better. And their pitching staff, I think we'll be able to do enough. So I'll take the Phillies to move on. Mets fans are pissed. And so we have a Phillies-Dodgers matchup and a Yankees-Tigers matchup. Now, when we talk about the ALCS, I really wanted to pick the Tigers. But I just don't know if their pitching staff goes deep enough other than Screwball. When we're talking about the Yankees, with that stacked, incredible lineup with all those hitters, and of course, especially Judge and Soto, and then, of course, throwing out Cole, throwing out Rodon, I almost said Jason Schmidt, Clark Schmidt. They just have, I think, a little bit too much. I think the Tigers are going to give them everything they want. I think it's going to go 6 or 7. I'll say 7 games, but I do have to say, at the end of the day, the Yankees will emerge victorious and go to the World Series. And as for the Dodgers and Phillies, another really good matchup right there. Going to be a hard-fought one if that actually comes to fruition. The Phillies, very good team, stacked team. I forgot to mention Nick Castellanos, another big power bat there. Can that Phillies pitching staff actually take out the Dodgers and keep that lineup at bay? Going to be very, very difficult. And I don't mean just to pick the favorites every time. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan, so if this matchup happens, I'll be rooting for the Phillies. But I think that the Dodgers will eventually take that series. And I think we're going to get a rematch of a World Series that has happened numerous times. It happened, 1981? Yes, 11 times they faced each other. The last time in 1981. And I believe the Dodgers won that series in 6 games. That was back when Dusty Baker was there with the Dodgers. And I think that the Yankees won the first 2 games and then the Dodgers won 4 in a row. Could be wrong on that, but I didn't look that up, but I've watched that VHS. I used to watch those VHS tapes all the time that recap the World Series. Those are awesome. I don't know if they're still making, obviously they're not making VHS style tapes, but and all those recaps, I used to watch every single, we used to have a huge collection of those that would just recap the whole series. They were really well done. So that's why I remember that. because I watched that tape so many times. But y'all don't care about that. Y'all care about who I think is going to win between the Yankees and the Dodgers. If that is indeed the World Series matchup in 2024, I believe that that will be the matchup. And I think a team that, you know, the Dodgers, they feel like they haven't won, but they did win in 2020. The Yankees are a team that's supposed to win World Series championships quite often, and they used to. Even after a little bit of a slump in the 80s, they came back hard, obviously, 96, 98, 99, 2000. 2001, they got there, fell short to the Diamondbacks. 2009. But what about since then? It's been a little while. It's been a minute. I think the Yankees are due with this team right here. I think it's going to be a hard-fought World Series. But I got the New York Yankees taking it in 6 games. The 2024 World Series champs, the New York Yankees. So there you have it. I think it's going to be a fun ride. So thank you guys for checking out the video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. And I know I hope I didn't just pick all the favorites. I kind of feel like I picked a lot more favorites than I usually do. But I'm also honest. This is what I see happening. If I want to pick a team, I want to pick the Tigers to beat the Yankees. I want to pick the Royals to beat the Yankees, but I don't see it. I just don't see it. I see the Yankees just overpowering everyone. The Dodgers will be tough to. Or one team I don't know if they can overpower would be the Dodgers. But hey, who knows? Maybe they run into the Padres. That'd be a tough matchup. Or hey, Mets, Phillies. A lot of good National League teams. I mean, that's 4 of the better teams, and that's why they're there. That's why they're still playing. Let's go Giants, Buster Posey, okay? Look what these teams are doing. Superstar after superstar. It's not hard to figure out what to do. Do it.
Do it.